Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another video. What we're going to be doing today is we are going to be taking a look at our 2024 Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and namely trying to see what they need to do in order to make the 2024 playoffs. We know the playoff format has completely changed this year. We're now letting in 12 teams, the 4 Power 4 champs, and then there's 8 outliers. We also have the Group of 5 champion, but what does Notre Dame need to do to be in that final 12? They don't have a conference championship, so what record do they need to have? We are going to look over their roster, seeing what they added, what they lost from last season, as well as looking over their schedule, seeing what games they can win to guarantee getting in the playoffs. Go ahead, hit that like button and subscribe. If you have any comments, drop them below, and I will also make sure to respond. So Vegas has Notre Dame coming in at 10.5 wins. So when you're looking at that 10 to 11 wins, that's easily manageable for Notre Dame. They usually win at least 10 games every season. That's kind of what they're built to do. But if they go 10-2 this year, without having a conference championship, is that really good enough to get them in the playoffs? I don't know that I'd want to take the chance. Now, if you're 10-2 and you're going to your conference championship, then you might make the playoffs, because if you win it, you automatically get the bye week. If you lose it, at least you made your conference championship and played one more game than anyone else. Notre Dame doesn't have that. When everyone else is playing for a playoff spot that championship week, Notre Dame's going to be out of sight, out of mind, not playing anyone. And I just wouldn't want to take the risk, the chance of being in that situation. But Marcus Freeman has this team rolling. He's been building a sleeping monster at Notre Dame. If you're underestimating Notre Dame, it's time you put all that to the side and get with the program. This team is stacked, and he's building it the right way through the portal, but he hasn't forgot about recruiting. He's been recruiting at an elite top 10 level since he became the head coach. Each of his first 2 seasons, they've gradually been getting better on the field as well as off the field. This season, there's massive advantages for the Irish. Yes, they don't have the conference championship. Usually, though, Notre Dame has a really competitive schedule. They play everyone. They're not afraid to play anyone, anywhere. But this schedule, it's actually not too difficult, so it's easily manageable. They can easily, to me, kind of sleepwalk their way to at least 11-1 this season. If Notre Dame goes 11-1, there's definitely no keeping them out of the playoffs. They have to make the playoffs this year. They have a very experienced team, and they have the manageable schedule. So this is the year to get there. There's no championship. There's nothing in your way. Just get through the schedule. 10-2 doesn't assure you it, but if you at least go 11-1, you're a shoo-in. Now, they did lose quarterback Sam Hartman's from last year's squad, but they added quarterback Riley Leonard through the transfer portal from Duke. Now, I've never been a huge Riley Leonard fan. I just haven't seen it myself. I'm not saying he's bad at all. He's a good quarterback. He's definitely serviceable. He can throw, and he can run as well as any quarterback in the country. But more importantly, he can run and throw simultaneously at the same time. So he kind of changes the scheme. He adds a new dynamic to the Irish that they haven't had in a while. But what stands out to me is that 55% completion percentage. That is awful, especially in modern spread college football. Guys are getting 70 to 78%. That's not uncommon. He's sitting at between 55 and 60 at his highest. That's horrible. He definitely needs to improve there. But what a lot of you are probably thinking, this is the best supporting cast he's ever played with. He was at Duke. He didn't have the weapons there under Mike Elko's old team, but he'll have them at Duke. So maybe that will elevate him and get him on par with the elite level quarterbacks throughout the country. One other massive thing, the offensive coordinator, Mike Denbrock, he comes over from LSU. That's huge. He coached the Heisman winner, Jayden Daniels, last season. He's a proven winner. He's coached at the highest level against the best defenses, and he's lit it up, averaging 46 points per game last season. That's to me, that's the biggest change this offseason. As long as Riley Leonard stays healthy, Denbrock's going to light it up, because he's going to adapt the game to his strength and take him to the next level. The weapons are there. The running back room is loaded. You have Jeremiah Love. You have Price. They are replacing Estime. The running game should take no step back. You have the tight end Evans, wide receivers Mitchell, Collins, Greenhouse, Faison, Thomas. This is probably the best wide receiver core that Notre Dame's had in forever. The offensive line is replacing 3 starters, but the talent on the roster is there. It's loaded, and Denbrock will be able to scheme things to the strength on the line. They had a top 10 defense last year. They were number 8 in the country. They're going to be a top 10 again this season. The defense under Al Golden is also loaded. These guys have been cruising at a high level. 5 starters are back. You got Watts, Cross the third, Morrison, Hurd the second, Clark, Mills. They're going to roll easy. When you're looking at their schedule, as I was saying, 10-2 without a conference championship does not guarantee you a playoff spot. Could you still get in at 10-2? Yes. But it's 50-50, and I don't like 50-50 odds. I want it to be higher. They need to at least go 11-1. If I do have a Notre Dame predictions video, you can definitely go back and watch that. Just scroll through my videos and hit it. I actually predict them to go 12-0. I don't really ever predict people to go undefeated. I just couldn't find a loss on the schedule this season. I just wasn't finding it. When you look at Saturday, August 31st, to me, that's the most obvious potential loss. That's at Texas A&M, College Station, hard place to play. You have Mike Elko coming over from Duke. He was Riley Leonard's old head coach, so it's kind of, they're both familiar with one another. They both know one another's strengths, but Mike Elko's having to completely flip the schemes for this team on offense and defense, but obviously the Aggies have a top 10 roster, so when the roster's that loaded at home, game one, everyone's going to be so built up, it's going to be fun. I could see, that's the most possible loss there, is Notre Dame starting out game one 0-1. After that, I can't really find a loss, but we're going to run through it. But I still pick Notre Dame to win that game. I still think they have the pieces. They're experienced enough in their schemes. They should be able to beat the Aggies. But if they lose, that's a loss. Then Northern Illinois, that's obviously a win. Purdue, win. Miami of Ohio, win. Louisville, that's like maybe the second or third next possible loss. I don't see it happening this year. I know Louisville was all fired up last season, and they were ready to play. I don't see that happening this year. Louisville is very talented. They've been working the portal as well as anyone, but I'm not buying it this year in terms of them being able to compete at the level of Notre Dame this season. The defense is too good. You're not going to surprise them. Sam Hartman was getting sacked last season. He had a lot of pressure. That's not going to happen this year. Riley Leonard is too mobile. They will beat them. Stanford win. Georgia Tech, King's a good quarterback. They won 8 games last season. Very well coached team. If you're sleeping on them, they'll surprise you and beat you. I don't see that happening. That's a win. Navy, they know how to play the triple option win. Florida State's, also that second or third possible win, but they're replacing their entire roster. Obviously, DJU transferred over as the quarterback. Mike Norvell has this roster talented. Working the portal as hard and as much as anyone, but Notre Dame should be able to beat Florida State. They should be able to beat DJU. Stack the line, shut him down, force him to beat you. Can Florida State win this game? Yes, they're very talented. Norvell's a great play caller, but I'm going to side with Notre Dame as of now. After that, Virginia win, Army win, USC. Obviously, you have Lincoln Riley. He's the best, if not one of the best offensive minds in college football right now, in college football history. The guy knows how to coach Heisman winners, knows how to coach offense. They're replacing their defensive coordinator, which was obviously their Achilles heel since his time back at Oklahoma. That's a game changer just because we don't know how good Lynn is going to do as a defensive coordinator. When he took over the Bruins, he brought them from 80 to 18th. If he obviously has that type of effect this season and brings USC from 90th to number 20, then they might make the playoffs. I don't see the improvement being that drastic. They might be 50th or 60th, and that's definitely good enough for Lincoln Riley to win. He has Miller Moss, he has Branch, a wide receiver. He can call plays on any defense. I don't care how good your defense is, he's going to score. If the game turns into a shootout, you never want to get in a shootout with Lincoln Riley just because it's risky, because the guy can put up 40 or 50 points if he needs to, but I'm still going to go with Notre Dame to win that one. So I had Notre Dame going undefeated this year. I think they're making the playoffs. If they don't make the playoffs, they screwed themselves somewhere. They messed up somewhere. They lost games that they shouldn't have lost. They were sleepwalking, and that comes back to the coaches not taking it serious. I don't think that's going to happen. These coaches, Marcus Freeman is a young head coach, but Al Golden, he's been a head coach before. He's been a coordinator for a while. Same thing for Denbrock. He's been a coordinator for a long time. He has a good core nucleus. Freeman knows how to pick the talent. He's picked guys he trusts, and he's proven himself as a head coach, and I think he's going to keep getting better. I have Notre Dame running the table this year. Yes, they're not going to win a conference. They're not going to get the bye week, but I have them still making the playoffs, and I'd be afraid to play them in the playoffs with them rocking this defense. So that's our breakdown of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and if they're going to make the playoffs this year, I say they will, and I say they go undefeated at worst, 11-1, and they still get in. Go ahead, hit that like button and subscribe. If you have any comments, drop them below, and I'll respond. Thanks.